This is my take on what I'm seeing, yeah, based on what I've seen from this protest and just from what I've observed generally, reading, observing protests. At the top, you've got a green layer of grass, and underneath that grass, you've got everything else, like the worms, the roots, the stones, the whatever else, clay, and it all seems to be really confused at the bottom. But at the top, it all looks nice and steady and healthy and green. Now, the top part is the communism idea, and underneath it is all the chaos, all the different individual minority causes coming together in this chaos that then makes it look like a mass crowd, a mass majority, when really the true cause at the top, the true agenda at the top is a minority. That minority is the puppet master. Everything else underneath is basically maneuvered around to suit the top agenda, which is communism. So for instance, get rid of the billionaires, the polluters. The reason why they can pick on these little things is because there's going to be a number of people that say, yeah, why should there be billionaires? There's too many billionaires. Yes, I agree. And they'll jump on to that protest. They'll jump onto that cause. Not really thinking that at the top is a communist cause agenda. They're just thinking about, yeah, why should they have so much money? Then you've got the trans, and then you've got the people of colour, and then you've got all these others that have got an invested interest into these causes, all under one, and the Palestinian, and then all under one roof. And the puppet master is the communism at the top, the socialists. The chaos underneath the grass, to everybody else, the ones that are being manoeuvred around, you know, they've got their individual causes, and then the onlookers, everybody else that are onlooking, that maybe not in these causes, will see that there's a whole load of chaos going on. But it is very steady, very sure-footed at the top. And the reason why I say that is because the country, the UK at least, probably, you know, universal, the world, global, is going towards a digital ID. Digital ID, digital currency, means control for whoever it is at the top that wants to control it. Now, there are certain people that are saying, yeah, but you know, put the Human Rights Act in, put the Constitution in, a Bill of Rights. How does that work? Humans are humans. So, a Bill of Rights is going to stop certain things from happening, from the top people, from, you know, taking advantage of certain things, when they're already doing it now and we don't have a digital currency. So, put a digital currency into place, put a digital ID into place, and then everybody will behave at the top. Is that the idea? The point that I'm making is, just before we go into this protest, and you'll see the interviews that I've done, and you'll see, you know, you hopefully will see what I mean. Digital ID, digital currency suits those that are on the climate change net zero path. It suits the communists. It suits communism because it's easier to blackmail, to enforce, to push people around if you have the control of their currency, of their money. And it may not be a communist environment, world, country now, but put ID in, put digital ID in, digital currency in, it's going to give the communists a much better chance of turning this country into a communist state, into a communist country, basically. The reason for that is because democracy will be corroded. Democracy will slowly fade into history if we allow digital ID and digital currency. And it's all playing out now. All of it is playing out now, guys. And communism is not based on democracy. China comes to mind. And China, you know, the president of China, does he live the same way as everybody else? Do you know what I mean? Like, even when I had these interviews, when I was speaking to people, and I mentioned Sadiq Khan going around in his guzzling Range Rover and his big house, So he's telling everybody to live a certain way, but he's not doing it himself. There are excuses being made for him. So it's okay for certain people to go around in guzzling Range Rovers. Oh, there's a reason for that. That's all right. Do you know what I mean? It's just not all right for the plebs. The masses. It's not all right for them, all right? They're the one. They should be eating insects. It's all right for King Charles to have his own cows when we're all eating insects. Because there's a reason for that. He deserves it. He's King Charles. You see, communism, it's good for the people at the top. It's just not so good for the people at the bottom. Just keep that in mind, guys.
Okay, cool.
All right?
I need to understand that. Thank you. No worries. Thank you. Of rich?
Multi-millionaires and billionaires. We want to have a tax on assets. 1% on £10 million or more, or 2% on £1 billion or more.
Okay, thanks for speaking to me.
Thank you.
This is my question.
Yes.
And it has been bugging me for a while.
Okay.
You know, like, this is about net zero, climate change and all the rest of it, right?
Not necessarily, so that's a part of what this is about. This is more broadly about making the wealthy pay their fair share in our society at the end of the day. There is an environmental element within that, because ultimately the billionaires are the ones who are generating the most pollution. I don't remember the status off the top of my head, but it's something like 10 companies are responsible for about 70% of our annual pollution.
I see what you mean, and they're going around in private jets, etc., etc.
That, and also their business practices themselves. So they will, a lot of them are actually also directly producing oil and the resources that are consumed to make the things that we have, right? And also they push the marketing to encourage consumerism amongst the public. So the two things are intrinsically linked.
Okay, cool. The reason why I'm asking this question is because it's such a contradiction, and it always has bugged me. So I've asked a few people today as well, same question.
Yeah.
You know, as Sadiq Khan basically extended the ULEZ. Did you agree with the ULEZ, the extension?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
Personally, as someone who lives in London, having an area that has less pollutants in the air has been a wonderful thing for me, and it's been a key reason I've stayed within the city, actually.
Right. You knew, just to say, you do know he drives a massive gas guzzling Range Rover. You do know that, don't you?
He may do, and if he does, then that is a contradiction that
and his wife, I think,
he should
has
resolve,
a guzzling Audi as well.
Yeah.
2 litre or something like that.
Yeah.
Sitting in their drive.
Yeah, then that is definitely a contradiction that he should know better than to be continuing.
But there's a lot, and he lives in a massive house. You do know that as well.
Yes, of course, and that's not a surprise given his position and.
He's not a billionaire, but he is a guzzler of emissions.
I'm sure that he probably has a higher amount than the average person does, yes. Yeah. No, that's not a surprise. But ultimately his policies, irrespective of those which, yes, are contradictions in his behaviour, at the end of the day, his wider policies that he generates within the city have been pushing for cleaner air and general reduction in pollution, which is a much higher scale.
Do as I say, not as I do. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's how can we even take him seriously? But one thing,
because these policies separate to him are still relevant in themselves and are important in themselves. He may not be the flagship that we would like him to ideally be, but the things that he is pushing forwards that are beneficial to our society are, irrespective of him, entirely worth us pursuing.
Okay, cool. One other thing. He, you know, when he extended the ULEZ, a lot of working class people had to give up their vans, and they lost their jobs and went into debt to get new vans, etc. That was part of it, and it was almost played down, like covered up, played down. But the thing that really made me question the whole thing was that he then set up a charity to send these vans to Ukraine. How does that make any sense?
So I think when we now look at the repurposing of these vehicles, right, at the end of the day, there's an embodied emission that has already been put into these vehicles, right? If vehicles are being required in whatever setting, whether that be Ukraine in this instance perhaps,
but why Ukraine and not here? I don't understand.
Because at the end of the day, our country is in a position, generally speaking, to be able to put forward these products, right, and make them more readily available to people. There's various financing options and things that are available here, but are not available in Ukraine. And in the Ukraine, they have had a huge amount of their infrastructure obviously ripped out due to the conflict with Russia, the invasion of Russia, I should say. And so providing them resources is an important way of helping them to maintain their infrastructure despite the conflict that's happening. So while, yes, they are then consuming.
Because you're speaking speaking to me, and you are eloquent.
Thank you.
In your response, yeah. I've got one other question to ask.
Please,
because
yeah.
sometimes I don't like pushing people too far, but I'm going to ask you this last question.
I'd love to have the dialogue, please.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Electric vehicles, do you agree with them? The batteries.
Yeah. So the battery technology, the recycling of the batteries is definitely a hold-up point at the moment. That I know there is a lot of work being gone into them to try and resolve this, but ultimately the life cycle emissions of an electric vehicle, even including the battery production, is still significantly lower than that of anything that's consuming diesel or petrol.
Right, so this is where we
Yeah.
get a little bit of pressure, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Do you know that, well, I'm taking this from what I've read,
Yeah.
do you know that in Africa,
Yeah.
potentially, I've got to say allegedly, little kids are the ones that are digging up the coal book. I'd call them working class workers.
You're right.
In Africa are digging up the coal book with no masks, etc., etc., just for the Western batteries.
Yeah.
And not only that, they use massive diesel lorries to transport all the minerals and all the products to create these batteries for the West.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So I've read the same, and I have no doubt that it is true, because exploitation within the developing world is rife. But it is
It's for the West though, it's for our batteries.
100%, yeah, absolutely. The only reason they're doing it is because we have that demand at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And that is a major issue. But once again, that's why we say that we need to speak. That's why we need to speak to the billionaires and those who are in power, who influence that mining and that production method. At the end of the day, they're the ones who are in charge of the process. So yeah, they put, whether it's electric cars or anything that we consume, they push us to consume. They have to have a responsibility to ensure that it is produced ethically and in fair practice to the local people.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Thanks a lot, yeah. He was quite eloquent, man. Sorry. I think he dealt with my questions quite well, to be perfectly honest. All right, on to the next. Explain to me what you mean when you say got to go.
What do we want?
Wealth tax!
When do we want it?
Now!
Explain to me what you mean when you say billionaires have got to go.
Tax out of existence.
What
Say
do we
again?
want?
Taxed out of existence.
When do
What, so
we
you don't want
it?
billionaires to exist?
What do we want?
The people that exist, accruing that much money is immoral.
What do we want?
So what level do you think people should be allowed?
I think £1 billion is probably a bit too much, right?
Okay. My channel's impartial, so I'm asking everybody else here, because you lot are
I
the
would
ones
say
that are
£1 billion
protesting.
is too much for one person to have. Especially when we have people living in poverty in such a country. I think that it's immoral to have that much to yourself.
Right, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for speaking, yeah. You know, like 1 billion, just to say though,
Sorry?
you know, like if they do have 1 billion, they're still a billionaire, you do that?
If they have £1 billion, they still do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because you're saying billionaires have got to go.
Yeah, so tax out of existence is what I'm saying.
But what I mean is if they have 1 billion still,
Yes.
oh, you're saying they shouldn't have a billion?
Yes.
Oh, got you, I misunderstood.
Yeah, no worries, no
Thanks,
worries.
man, thanks.
We're not pro-billionaires.
Huh?
We're not pro-billionaires.
No, I know. Thanks, man. All right, so yeah, it's good to understand why they're coming out and protesting, isn't it? This is why I ask these questions. Find out what the hell's going on.
Yes.
Right. I've got a couple of questions.
Okay.
People are saying tax the rich, but they're not quite sure what the rich is. Like I'm getting a sort of blurred idea as to what rich is when they say tax the rich.
They mean the ultra rich, billionaires and people like that who are, you know, their wealth is measured in billions basically.
But you know the billionaires, normally their money is in trusts, their money isn't really connected to them in some way. So are they billionaires, or are you talking about their companies, like the corporate companies?
No, they're billionaires. They own the trusts, they own the shares, and they exert a lot of influence over it as well. For example, for Nigel Farage and the Reform Party are causing a lot of issues in the UK at the moment, changing politics. They're 92% funded by oil companies. Large shareholders of oil companies are billionaires and people like that. So there's a lot of things that we can do. The wealth is basically dividing. People becoming a lot poorer at the bottom end, and people at the top end are becoming much, much richer. Mark Zuckerberg, his wealth in 2012, was that less than 15 years ago, he was worth 2 billion. He's now worth over 200 billion.
What kind of tax do you want on them, on the billionaires? What sort
Something
of level?
that's fair, so the wealth is more evenly distributed. Because if it's more distributed more evenly, people have money to insulate their homes, to to buy air source heat pumps and things like that, because there are some pretty extreme figures coming out from NASA as to when we're going to have extinction of humans in the UK. Not total extinction, but sort of like 90% plus. And they've come up with some dates on that, and it's this century. And 2060 is when they reckon about 50% of humans will die off, because the economy will collapse, because all this wealth has been concentrated in a small number of people who are doing huge amounts of damage, partly because they're funding things like Tufton Street, which is a PR agency in London.
Can I ask you a question about the digital ID and the digital... I'm just wondering, it's a little bit, it's kind of connected really. You know, digital currency and digital ID, have you any thoughts on that subject?
If we had a constitution, then we could have digital IDs, and then we'd be able to sort of understand population growth and many other things. But the problem is we don't have a constitution, so as soon as you get a digital ID, then people will be able to track everything you do. And a lot of that is used for political reasons.
Is that what would you like digital ID? I mean, are you...
If we get a constitution, yes, but we don't have a proper constitution. We don't have a Bill of Rights, like they do in many countries. So the government can use information for whatever they fancy it for.
Right.
They will use it to track political opponents, for example.
Right.
So people who are not agreeing with their policies. I mean, we're always starting to see the surfacing of this in America with Trump. You know, there was a talk show host who said something against Trump. Suddenly freedom of speech goes out the window, and ABC are pressured into taking the talk show off the air completely. So that's the top end that you see, but the bit you don't see is how they use digital information. The police here have face recognition cameras, which are recording a lot of the people involved in this march today, for example, even though they've often promised not to do so.
But we've got facial recognition in almost every shop now as well, haven't we? So
no, it's not facial recognition. No, it's just CCTV. Facial recognition actually recognises your face, looks it up in a database, and records where you were and when.
Yeah. But you know the when you go to actually buy it in the self cash out, those cameras.
That's not linked. That's generally not linked to the police or any government
it's not a facial
institution. That's a
recognition.
private. I mean, I used to run a shop, so I do know how it works. And often they're not very good quality anyway. But it's when they start putting it all together and linking it then. If we had a Bill of Rights in this country, there's still limitations on what they can do and can't do, then we would be in a much better position. I mean, it wasn't that many years ago that some organisations like MI6 would not officially recognise. The government denied they had MI6.
Right, thanks, yeah. Thanks for speaking to me. Cheers. Is where would it end? Would it end at 10 million? Would it become a 5 million? Do you see what I mean? You see, like when they're saying that they want to tax anybody that's got £10 million, yeah, they want to tax them. Super rich. They're saying £10 million. But where will it end? Will it go down to 5 million at some point? Will it go down to 2 million? Do you see what I mean?
I'm more concerned with the billionaires.
Oh, so you're concerned? So everyone's got like a different idea here.
Super rich people have so much money.
But do you know there are some people on this march that are talking about millions?
People on this march maybe have way less than me. It's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of what, you know.
Look, here are the Red Rebels. You want to get them.
Thanks for speaking to me, yeah. Is this like excuse me, is this a silent march? Is it silent? Is it a silent march? It's a silent protest with the idea of rich?
Well, super yachts, very large houses.
You know, like
with at least 10 million of assets, at least. We're talking about billions, we're talking, this is what this is about.
But you know the problem that I'm trying to get to the bottom of, you know, like billionaires have got all these assets, a lot of the time they're in trusts and they're corporate businesses, and so what would happen about that? Do you know what I mean? It's not like black and white, is it?
It is a problem, it's very easy for the rich to buy their money.
But does that mean that you'd want to get rid of corporates and trusts and stuff? To get to the billionaires?
I think that's going too much into the detail, to be honest.
Right, so
It's not about the detail, this is about a concept. It's a concept that we have got growing inequality in this country. We're seeing that the services are absolutely disintegrating while we've got a super rich class that's thriving.
Right.
It's not right, you know. Everybody should thrive in this country, and not everybody is thriving. We've got a huge problem with children in poverty.
I'm from Germany, and I think that's shit.
Alright. Very good. Alright, thanks for speaking to me, yeah, we'll end it on that one. Cheers. It takes the characters to make the video. Takes the characters to make the video, man. Are you against capitalists? Is it against...
I think that's a very complicated question. That's an extremely complex question. We are a system that's built on capitalism, yet, you know, it's not working, is it? It's not working for many, many people.
Right.
And so it's very difficult to reform capitalism if you're seeing a system that we all live in that isn't working for the majority.
I'm trying to understand the collective here, because there's such a collective, and all
do you
kind
mean, the collective here?
there's like different causes here, shouting out different things, and it all seems to come down to one thing, which is capitalism. It seems like capitalism.
Well, it
is
comes
the
down to inequality. Actually, it comes down to inequality.
But do you think
Inequality is, you know, inequality drives every crisis that we're in. So
do you
the
think
climate
that's
crisis
due
is driven by crisis is driven by inequality, and almost every other crisis, if you are constantly for the rich, for the super rich, so I'm talking the top, like 0.25%.
Yeah, a few people have said 10 million, and there's been different variations of what they're saying, but generally over 1 million anyway.
No, it's well over 1 million.
10 million,
Over 1
10
million. I mean, we're talking 10 million of assets.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you live in London, you'd be quite surprised. Somebody with a flat in London, with a 2-bed flat in London, could be already on over 1 million. And that's not what this is about.
Right.
This is about 10 million assets, that is, and above, and much higher. So we're talking about like the 0.25% of the country. That's who this would affect, and they've got the deep pockets. They're the people who can pay.
Mike, can I ask you, what's your idea of super rich?
Well, super rich. Anyone with a yacht?
Say again?
Yachts, private plane.
So you know, like people with yachts and private planes. A lot of the time, they're just corporate, under corporate names and stuff like that. So, do you mean corporates? Do you mean? You know, they're assets. A lot of it's in trusts and corporates and all that. Companies.
In truth, I just think we all need to live. What would we call it?
Say again?
Slightly. I think we all just need to reduce our impact
on the planet. Okay, on the planet, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
On each other.
All right, thanks for speaking to me. Yeah.
Justice!
Can I ask you a question? What's the justice part?
The justice is. Oh, I'm probably not the best person to speak to.
So you're calling out justice, so I thought you might have an idea.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. It's rights for the planet as well as ourselves, and it all affects. Everything affects everyone and everything in this planet. So it's about making sure that we are all like living in harmony together as people and as planets.
Are there any solutions? Like, do you have an idea as to how that might happen?
Yeah, tax the rich.
Tax the rich. That's
tax
it.
the rich. Tax the billionaires.
Who's the rich?
Top 1%. People who own our assets. People who own all of these resources. Like we're walking down Oxford Street now.
Do you mean rich or billionaires? Because they're kind
billionaires.
of different.
Yeah.
So only billionaires or rich as well?
I think rich. We're talking about top 1%. So we're talking about people who are really, really wealthy.
Do you know the top 1%? They only They only take. Sorry, after tax, etc., more or less have about £1,000 a week.
Yeah, but they own all of this. Look at all of this that we're on. We're on Oxford Street now. All the people own this.
Billionaires.
Yeah.
Billionaires.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of our resources are being sucked out of our economy because people own our assets. And we need
you know what it is? I was just trying to understand what is, your idea collectively of what is rich. Do you see what I mean? Because in this country, rich is very blurred. It's a blurred thing because people earn money and a lot of it gets taken away from them, and then they end up with like the 50%, the 40% tax bracket or whatever.
But we're talking about assets versus income.
Assets. Okay.
People, like all of this talking about tax the rich, super rich. A lot of that is talking about taxing assets.
Okay. All right. Thanks. So £1 million house, for instance, would that be taxed?
£1 million house.
Say for instance, you're living in £1 million house and you're a pensioner.
Well, no, it's assets over 10 million. That's
okay. Cool. I need to understand that. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, just get an understanding as what their idea is and what their solutions are. I've got a lot of no solutions yet. Let's have a look and see. Like when you put all of the causes together into one, it's like comes underneath. Like capitalism is the enemy kind of thing. That's what I'm getting from it. It's not actually being said, but that's what I'm getting from it. It's about capitalism. At the top of the head of the title, I think that's what it is. There's a lot of different groups here. You've got this one here. What that was. You've got the Republicans right here. Not sure. What is your idea of what a billionaire looks like?
What a billionaire looks like?
Yeah.
Well,
the reason why I asked is because they've got a funny statue.
A statue?
Over there. They've got a statue over there of what they think is a billionaire, what he looks like.
I mean, I haven't seen the statue.
What's your idea of rich?
My idea, someone who has a lot of money, owns a lot of property.
There has to be like, there has to be areas, you know what I mean?
Areas.
Otherwise it becomes a blurred line and we can all just say rich. We could say £100,000 is rich, do you see what I mean?
Well, that is pretty, it's a lot more money than I have.
Okay, alright, no worries, man. I'm trying to understand what people believe is rich or what feel is rich, because like in London, you're going to be less rich than if you're living out in the country, for instance. You see what I mean? Or if you have a certain way of living, like for instance, a rich person may need to be. This is just my idea because my channel's impartial, but a rich person may need to drive around in a flash car just for safety, for instance. You see what I mean? And like a Range Rover or something like a guzzling Range Rover. What do you think about that?
Well, sure, I mean, I think like the point you're making there is like there's different costs of living in different places, like that's.
What do you think about people driving Range Rovers?
People driving Range Rovers?
Yeah. Are you
I've
like
got
the climate?
very few opinions about Range Rovers.
Like the climate and all, climate net zero and all those kinds of things. Range Rovers are quite guzzling cars, aren't they? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of like pollution and the climate, I think the most harmful is, say, like the top handful of companies that cause over half of the world's pollution.
In what way though? Oh, you mean just generally like with things that they make? You mean?
Yeah, through production, through business. There's massive amounts of pollution that. I'm hearing
a lot of this, but I'm not hearing any solutions. Do you see the only solution I'm getting is tax the rich, but it's such a grey thing to say. See what I mean? Because where does it end? If you know what I mean? See, we could go on for we could say that 100,000 is rich. We could say I know a lot of people are saying over 10 million, but where does it end once they've got the 10 million? It could come down to 5 million. It could come down to. As society changes, things become.
Well, I mean, if you've got 10 million or 5 million, you've got 10 million or 5 million than I have. That's pretty. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but is that what it's about, though? Do you know what I mean? Or is it about people wanting to strive and do better and achieve these things? You see what I mean? Take away all the top level, and what is there to strive for? You see what I mean?
I mean, I don't agree with that whole striving mindset.
Oh, okay.
I think like that amount of money, that's an awful lot of money, having millions upon millions, far more than you need to survive and have a healthy, good life.
I'll leave you to it because I do understand where you're coming from. But what I'd say is, when you're saying that, it really is a flat surface. Okay. You're not looking at the depth. You see what I mean?
I mean, I think overall we are. I'll leave it at that. But I think, you know, like the point that a lot of people are getting at is that a lot of people out there with more money than they know what to do with should be redistributed. There are people out there with no money who need it.
Yeah.
That money should be put into healthcare, welfare.
Can I just say, are you against capitalism or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm fully against capitalism.
You are, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Just so we know where we're at.
Of course,
right, thanks a lot,
yeah, I'm a socialist, absolutely.
Cheers. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to understand. Is it against people are against capitalism? That's why they're having these conversations. That's why they're saying this. Hang on. And there's this. I don't even know what this statue is, to be honest. I don't even know what it's representing. What is it? Can you tell me what this is? Because I don't get it.
Welcome, you beautiful.
What's the statue? What is that statue there? What is it? What's this?
You all look so amazing.
What's the statue?
It's a billionaire.
Oh! Is that what a billionaire looks like, is it?
We'll get started in about 5 minutes.
That's your idea of a billionaire?
Yeah, it's an archetype. It's a typical
A stereotype?
Yeah, well, stereotype, archetype.
So this is the stereotype of the billionaire. I don't know what a billionaire looks like, but they've got an idea as to what it looks like. Why is the billionaire a particular type of person? I don't understand. Male.
Well, you got to represent how you represent the billionaire visually, and this was one choice of how to do it.
So this is your idea of a billionaire. You don't think there's any other types?
I didn't make it, to be fair, but yeah, I guess whoever made it, they thought they could, cross the
stereotype the idea. All right, thanks, man. Thanks. Sorry, mate. Sorry. So that is the idea, their idea of a billionaire.
Building something together.
Can I ask you a question?
Of us all struggling day to day. The
Are
most
you
marginalised communities
against
are getting
capitalism?
blamed, and it's causing incredible division in our community. And we need to make them pay.
So
billionaires,
why are you here?
corporations
For the protest?
have had a free range for far too long.
Why are you here?
All of us suffer. So, just want to say a huge thank you. And then when we come out again and demand that we make them
Right,
pay,
you're a
there's gonna be
youngster, yeah?
twice as many,
Imagine that you do really well in life,
and
you end up making millions. Coming from nothing, and you're going to be okay about being taxed heavily at the end of it.
And we'll guide you through that. My name's Taro Scott from War on Want. And
it's still not fair. Like, I'm just going to take advantage of a corrupt system. I've had to do that, but it's still corrupt. I say it's not fair.
What is corrupt? What's corrupt about it? I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I've asked so many people these questions. What's corrupt?
Because other people need that money more than I do. I don't need millions.
We want to tax the super rich.
I'm having basically nothing.
So that sounds more communism than capitalism. That's more like going down the line of communism rather than capitalism.
And we want to make polluters pay.
All I care about is
thank you everyone.
less homeless people on the streets, less poor people.
Yes, we won't take up your time with us. We're going to introduce our first incredible speaker, Pfizer Shehi, Director of Tax Justice UK. Incredible voice, tackling wealth inequality, and such a pleasure for us to have Pfizer join us today. Big noise for Pfizer Shehi.
Excuse me? Who's the rich? Who's the super rich? Who are they?
Actually, before that, so sorry. We have an access announcement I forgot to do.
I'm a YouTuber. And I go around like documenting protests. And it's impartial. It's an impartial channel. It's an impartial channel.
Accessible viewing area here at the front.
I'm documenting you. I'm documenting the protest, but the voices are important. Do you see what I mean? I've been talking to everybody so far. Well, a lot of people have been talking to. Do you want to have a word?
just over here as well. They're doing a big wave.
Why are you here for the protest? Why are you here for the protest?
Well, I'm a guy that's trying to like get a job, but hasn't been able to due to the bad work right now.
Oh, is it about you getting a job? Did you say you're coming here because you can't get a job?
Well, no. It's just that like. Sorry again.
Sorry, there's no way.
It's hard to like speak.
Say that again.
Sorry, there's a lot going on. It's hard to speak.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Thank you for speaking to me anyway. Yeah.
But anyway, if I can give some of my reasons.
Yeah.
You know, since I was a kid, the economy has just been kind of going down the drain, and there's like all this like a lot of like people are noticing it, but they're also blaming the wrong kinds of people. They're like blaming migrants, they're blaming people of color, they're blaming the queer community. But what is really actually the culprit here are the billionaires that's put these divides on us, because all our like issues that we have now, they can absolutely just be like paid for at the snap of a finger with the amounts of wealth these billionaires have. But because they have like just been dividing so much of
what would be the solution, do you think? What would be like? I understand what you're saying, but how would that come about? Like, how could you? Like, they're just saying tax the rich at the moment, and they're saying that certain percentages. But where would that end? Do you see what I mean? Would that carry on going towards? Like, at the moment, I'm hearing 10 million. Would it go to 5 million, to 2 million? How would it develop, do you think?
I'm not too sure myself really, but I just know that like the amounts of money that the billionaires have, they shouldn't have that much money. It should go to various public services. It should go to like a deprivatization on many services, so that people won't live in poverty, or like people like won't have to like decide whether they have to eat or like have to heat their homes or whatnot.
Okay. Right, thanks for speaking to me. Yeah? Cheers, thank you. Alright, so that's the end of the protest for me. There's a rally in Whitehall now.
The same people funding the fascists, protecting the interests of the defence industry, and lobbying government to block taxes on the super rich and the big polluters. And I've been close enough to power to see how it really works. When I was first selected as a Labour candidate, and you may know the story of how I was blocked, and I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest. I was immediately emailed by the likes of Bupa and Barclays Banks. This is how they work. They are constantly lobbying in the background. So when we demand that the richest pay more, it is of course about raising revenue for our crumbling NHS and to strengthen our welfare system. It is about reducing inequality, but it's also about denting their power to curtail democracy and to undermine our ability to have a say in what matters, in the policies that need to change. My friends, in this country today, people say there are two top issues: immigration and the economy, with recent polls showing that immigration is edging ahead. Is it any wonder that when we are constantly bombarded with hyperbole about people risking their lives to cross the channel from countries like Iraq and Afghanistan that we had a hand in destroying, from countries like Sudan who are suffering from famine and displacement? We hear so much more about those 45,000 odd people that cross every year than the hundreds of thousands at the very